When beechen buds begin to swell, and woods the bluebirds warble know, the yellow violet's modest bell peeps from the last year's leaves below. And when again the genial hour awakes the painted tribes of light, I'll not o'erlook the modest flower that made the woods of April bright. William Cullen Bryant.
Put it into...
When I was younger, I didn't appreciate spring much. You'd notice the flowers here and there, things when they were at their peak, but I never watched the buds come off the trees, and it wasn't until a few years ago that I noticed spring can look like fall. You'll look at a hillside and you'll see lime green, red, orange, yellow, but it's very faint. Such a special time of year. It's such an invigorating time of year. So the past few years, I've watched spring happen around me, watched it come to me. But this year, after Allie and I took the train down to Florida, you saw spring bloom the further south you went, and that gave us the idea that this year we would go and chase spring. 2023 has been about spontaneity and letting things happen. And beyond just the flowers and the change to the landscape, it's such a fun time of year to do changes like me shaving my head, or to revamp and refresh, rethink things and try new things. We're always looking for ways to cook more of our own meals and eat healthy consistently. When we're working a lot and doing a lot of little trips, it's hard to stay consistent. That brings us to this video sponsor, which is HelloFresh. I've seen my neighbors get HelloFresh for years and always wondered about it, and I'm so excited to finally be using it. The thing that's great about HelloFresh is it just takes the hassle out of making your own meal. You don't have to worry about all the different ingredients. This is honestly perfect for our lifestyle, especially right now. We don't have to worry about grocery shopping. We know that HelloFresh will just show up with the pre-portioned meals. We can spend our day doing exactly what we want and know that we have all the ingredients for dinner right here. And it's not just for dinner. They've got great lunches, they've got snacks. Even if you're not good in the kitchen, this is a great way to get into it, because these are foolproof recipes. They have step-by-step. They make it easy to become a cook. You're gonna save money with HelloFresh. It's cheaper than the grocery store, and it's cheaper than takeout. HelloFresh's pre-portioned ingredients cut down on waste tremendously. But one of the best parts is that you're getting real food. You're getting seasonal ingredients picked at peak ripeness. These ingredients travel from the farm to your home in less than 7 days, so you know they're always fresh. It feels good to know that you have pre-planned meals ready to go in the fridge any day of the week. And right now, you can go to HelloFresh.com, use the code TroutandCoffee50 for 50% off, and your first box will ship free. That's HelloFresh.com, TroutandCoffee50 for 50% off and free shipping. So thank you to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video and for supporting these stories. And now back to the road trip.
But this is exciting. Leave the snow. Go find spring flowers. So when a small patch of decent weather popped up, we took off south, and we started seeing signs of spring as soon as we hit Connecticut. And when Allie saw this basket shop and begged me to turn around, I 180'd that trooper, and we met the owner with big smiles as we walked in. And we talked about spring and gardens, and we told her how we were heading south to chase the cherry blossoms. I could see the joy in her eyes. These little stops are what this kind of road trip is all about. And just before the day ended, we arrived at our destination, a place neither of us had been since junior high. And while we saw a few brief glimpses in the dark, it was the next morning on our walk to breakfast that we saw spring in all its glory. And having come from the snowbanks and gray forests of western Massachusetts, even a single blooming flower was a treat to see. And while we were excited for what was to come later in the day, it was this unassuming morning walk and first glimpse that stuck with me most. More of a feeling than a smell.
Maybe a little smell.
Get your schnoz up in there. We had come to Washington, D.C. to see the legendary cherry blossoms. I had heard of them most of my life, but never looked into it much. And now, we were only moments away from experiencing it. So cool. There were groves of them all around the big open greens, and inside, each grove felt like its own little world. And though we had pictured walking through the blossoms in the golden sunshine, the day we were given was cloudy, with rain sprinkles here and there. And that's a chance you take when you do things on a whim. And it's a good mental practice to embrace what's given to you. was right before sundown, right as we arrived at our most sought-after destination, the tidal basin, that a few streaks of blue started showing up in the sky, and a golden bloom came from the west. We had managed to hit peak bloom. Pink and white cherries line the entire basin, and people from all walks of life strolled up and down, soaking up the beauty. And at last, the sun fully broke through, and it turned an already beautiful scene into an amber dream. I can't believe the sun popped out. This is unbelievable. Starting the day off in the rainy gloom only made the sunshine ending burn brighter, as contrast is what makes life rich. And while we thought this would only be a day trip, we ended up staying one more night and stopping somewhere unexpected on the way home to chase more blooms. Neither of us had ever spent much time in Philadelphia, and the little side streets on the outskirts of the city were beaming with life and art. And they had something we hadn't seen yet, the weeping cherries. That's so pretty.
How do we get there? These are all about
just started, yeah. And there's something hauntingly beautiful about a weeping cherry in full bloom. walked around the parks admiring the history and reading about the way things were way back when. So many of these old American cities were sprawling Babylonian settlements on the banks of rivers before they were overdeveloped, and one can only imagine the skyline gone and the streets replaced with rolling hills of green. Yet, glimmers of beauty still remain amongst the concrete, and if you choose to look for it and you catch it at just the right time, you forget you're in a city at all. That's the thing about Mother Nature. No matter what we do, she'll always be in control. And the more we respect her and admire her, the more unforgettable moments we'll get to stash in our memory boxes.